Advanced Building Tips Dreamlight Valley. Hello, if you're like me, you've been playing this game a lot, and you're wondering how to get better at designing. I've played about 100 hours so far. Here are my personal tips for how to flesh out your valley. Clean up everything. All the little annoying sticks and stones. Floor your entire town. That was the only way I was able to see all the space I had to work with. Next, remember this is an early access game, there are barely any items to work with, so you will see most people have all their buildings centralized in one area. There is usually a large farming area, or multiple in various biomes, and even though the customization level in this game is like Dark Cloud mixed with Animal Crossing, you shouldn't feel bad if your ideas look like everyone else's. I have seen so many valleys online now that have a botanical garden area in the plaza, right next to our large city-style buildings like Scrooge's and Remy's. If you are one of these people, I like to put the restaurant here for a color pop, then I added a sitting area in the back area here. So use ideas that you see, but make them their own. Next tip, make your resources accessible, especially your rocks. Late game, rocks are one of the most important resources. You can see here that even though I have furniture placed here, I can still mine all the resources from the rock. When you do make these little areas, make sure there is no room for random things to grow in an area that is hard to reach. You can always move the flowers, but the herbs are another situation altogether. Luckily the herbs are more aesthetic. Think about what makes sense in the space. By the restaurant, it makes sense to have a sitting area. I added the bike, barrels, crates, other things you would expect outside a restaurant in real life. As well as an obligatory table with one chair where you would expect to see a single back of house employee on their break. Consider layers in height. There is a reason most of us gravitate towards putting our buildings in the top plaza. Putting them along the back of the plaza gives them a solid background from the castle, tall mountains, and vines. The buildings don't look the same in the peaceful meadow, for instance, where the top of the building would poke over the cliff. Those layers are extremely important when building tall stuff in the back, then moving forward, the layers should look shorter generally speaking. You can see here by the restaurant there is the fence layer, the barrels, the crate and log, and the bike layer. Reuse, repeat, and reuse, repeat. You can see here I have the coffee cart, trellis, the tables, the chairs, and the campsite fire are all move or repeated items that you will see over and over again in my town. There are limited items, so experiment with every single one. I had the idea for this barbecue pit area in the park after I saw the log fire. You can find your own in the Sunlit Plateau or the Forgotten Lands. Make sure to note that for right now, if you have cataloged an item, but you aren't able to order it from Scrooge in the shop, make sure to put it in your furniture inventory first. Not every item is able to be cataloged. For instance, the books that were by Merlin's house, they cannot be ordered even if they are in your inventory. Don't utilize annoying plants. Some plants like the little plaza trees constantly drop nothing but softwood, so I prefer to use as little trees as possible and instead I opt for things like bushes, logs or flowers, especially in the meadow or plaza where only softwood drops. Here is another example of the layers, using the plaza hedge, fence, flowers, and bamboo. My next tip is to use arches. Just like in Disney World, there are themed areas and items of Dreamlight Valley. The tall lakes are great to separate areas. I used my columns from the Ultimate Founders Pack to build a base arch here around the plaza, then filled it in with things like the Mickey arch and the flags, which helps build the illusion that going under each arch leads to a different themed area. Around the back of Scrooge's shop, you can see I'm a mess, but also, I used my own tips here. The rock is accessible, and there is a sewing station outside the shop, as well as the mannequin. If it goes there in real life, it could fit in the game as well. Use paths if possible. You can see here that by adding the path around part of the building, but not the entire thing, plants can pop up in those unfortunate places that require you to remove and rebuild entire fence pieces just to pick it up. Here on the beach you can see that layering, that use of space so flowers don't spawn in inaccessible areas, as well as the use of the arches by the bridge. My next little mini tip here is to use the droppable items as furniture. The coconuts cannot actually fit into the basket, but you can put them right next to it, and the idea comes through. Also, the dropped items don't count as part of your valley's maximum furniture limit, so use them as much as you want. Another tip here is actually the complete opposite of what I said earlier. Instead of thinking about what would go somewhere in real life, remember, this is a fantasy game. What are some things that would be completely out of place? I thought about having a little city-esque space with the motorcycle, little restaurant bar area and the arcade machine. It needs some work still. But guess what? That's right. Accessible rocks. And over here by Moana's house, you can see I used that layering, tall in the back, shorter items up front, and then also put the coconuts here which match perfectly with the beach barbecue set. However, I made one fatal mistake. Did you catch it? If the rock doesn't have enough space, the resources will disappear into the ether. My next tip is to put as many shops as close together as possible for your own convenience. I have Moana's fishing boat here. I love the fishing boat. It's extremely useful for quests or collecting some quick cash, even if you don't have all the upgrades. And you get to see Moana. So I have her fishing boat, next to Goofy's little shop, but I put Goofy's stall from the Glade of Trust as close to the edge of the biome as possible, so I get it right next to the Dazzle Beach stall. I also decided to put Kristoff's stall down here, because I spend a lot of time here shopping, collecting, and building. So you can see on the map that the shops are very easy to access from the beach fountain and they formulate a cute shopping district area. This tip is probably the most obvious, but this game is a work in progress. Your valley is fluid, and with more characters coming in, and the launch of the full free game in the works, it's okay to move things every day or to keep things the same. It's also okay to not unlock everything right away. You can see here I put Goofy's stall right next to the fountain because I want to have the quickest path possible for each area for me to get all my shopping done, and I absolutely love the shopping district aesthetic. The next tip, and the one that has the most impact on the game in my opinion, is to color match as much as possible. There aren't a lot of items in game yet, so taking some time to comb through and put down furniture that matches the plants is a great way to take your valley to the next level. Here we have Minnie's house, and I went and found every single pink or purple plant or item I could and spent lots of time ordering and moving and rearranging objects to build this scene. I used the books from Merlin's, the arch, fencing, the mini furniture, and even though I am proud of it, I will probably rearrange everything immediately after recording. Mini tip here, get it? Mini. But I mean mini as in small, so mini tip here is going to be to let your rocks and mushrooms grow back after you destroy them. In some areas they look cute or they match the aesthetic you're going for. In this area, the mushrooms match the colors, so they are here to stay. Quick tip to pay attention to your weather in game before filming, or you will show a foggy gray scene when you're trying to tell people about colors. My next tip is to make sure your forageables are accessible, and I mean, really easy to access. I put some berries along my main walking path because I just cannot be bothered to pick them unless I literally run through them on my way to do something else. And here you can kind of see that color matching over here by Mickey's house. Moving along we have my next tip, and that's to see the bigger picture. Scroll out on your map and see what is in the background and foreground layers of your scene to really build the picturesque valley you want. You can see here I cleared the sunlit valley and moved Wally's home here because it matches the aesthetic of the biome. There is much room for growth and new characters. I'm saving a giant section of my valley for the Alice in Wonderland hedges, tea sets, and mushroom furniture that we get, hopefully. Disney. Please. So now we're going to fix this area up to show you exactly how you can use some of these tips yourself. I tried putting my pool by my house, and adding the brick and iron fencing to match my house. But the colors don't match at all, the theme doesn't match at all, and so it's time to change up the pool's layout. I had an idea to make an infinity pool, a pool that overlooked the water near the beach. Really quick mini tip here, experiment with your house locations. Donald's house can fit in the meadow with his friends Mickey and Goofy, and Ursula can fit in many places, including the glade where she matches very well with the Atlantean relics. Here by Merlin's house, I made a research lab area and I wanted to add the pool right next to it. So first thing, you gotta clean up your area before you put stuff on top. You can try to avoid it, but it is inevitable, just clean it up. I moved the pool, added the chairs, the tables, a few flowers, and even this large rock piece to fill out the area and avoid those spawning plants. The Eric statue looks good by the pool and matches perfectly, and some selective flowers give us those nice embellishments. Speaking of flowers, I'm building a flower meadow down here on the Dazzle Beach, but it seems as though if you have a certain amount of flowers already, they will stop spawning. So I will have to put them in my inventory then put them all down at the same time. This is the infinity pool area. This would really be nice and filled out if I put down some paths or even a low fence of some sort. But I love this view here. One final tip here. And before that, you can see here I have another area of my valley where I put the fountain as close as I could to the stall. I also put two stalls very close to each other to have that easy accessibility all over the town. Last tip for this video is to build within the theme of the biome. I am super excited for those Forgotten Lands spooky town tours coming up next year. I want an ice cream parlor in these frosted heights personally, but for now I will settle for this hot bath house, spa area. There are limited game items that I have to use, but I like this little corner here. I'm not sure if I have anything else really that matches this area, but so far, I love it. And I could definitely see a hot springs up in the cold mountains, and the frozen furniture obviously matches perfectly with the frosted heights aesthetic. So yeah, those are my tips for this game. Thanks for watching, I hope you liked it. I hope you like my mushroom dress, I made it myself. Important final note here, for the event, do not spend your Moonstones on anything other than the Starlit Path. This is an event tab, there are sure to be more events in the future, maybe sometimes more than one event at the time. I have 100 hours in this game and I have found only 80 Moonstones in game for a rough estimate. You have enough time to complete all events and get most of the items without buying more of the currencies. Don't be tricked by the button at the bottom. Now I'll get back to my soft-blocked Elsa quest.